As the 70s roll in, stability around the world has never been as shaky. Interplanetary alliances join together to seek ideological supremacy across both planets. Cultural shifts are uprooting norms that have been in place for centuries. Technological shifts have been changing how the world itself functions. As these shifts occur, life continues in the Seedbearer region, where a seemingly random group of people have come together to try and make sense of the nonsensical. This is Hazeltown Story. Hello and welcome to Hazeltown Story Discovery Episode 1. It's a new season of Hazeltown Story. Not much is going to be different if you are, you've been hanging on and listening to the first season, which I'm now going to essentially be considering kind of a season 0. That being Hazeltown Story Prototype. It's going to be kind of the same thing, although we're kind of doing things a little bit different with Hazeltown Story Discovery. Namely that I go more in depth into it in the actual episode, but we are now using a different game system that we had before. It's actually one that's homebrewed, that is based mostly on the Forged in the Dark engine, but there's a little bit of Powered by the Apocalypse and even going back to Genesis in there. I'll go more in depth on how that works inside of the actual episode itself. But yeah, there's going to be a different flow to this. Also, this isn't going to be necessarily, although I'm kind of seeing how we're going, this might not necessarily be divided by the case, because last time for like Hazeltown Story Prototype, we had definitely been doing it like section off of little mini arcs. Like each one is like a case that we're working on, or the group is working on. And this is going to be more kind of flow, because I basically give the players 3 different cases to work on at once, and they choose which ones they want to work on. And that's where I'm testing that out for the start. We'll see whether or not that works out in terms of like the actual like progression. So we're going to do, there's going to be a little bit of kind of experimentation with this, because this is our testing of a new system. We kind of tried to iron as many kinks out before we actually started, but we'll actually see how it goes. If you have not listened before, I don't know if exactly a whole lot of knowledge will be necessary. Maybe the only things you kind of might want to listen to is episode 0, which is kind of the teaser, which explains some things about, the background, and maybe like the first episode of Prototype. Other than that, I'm going to try and have this be, I'm kind of thinking that this is a starting point for this, series, if you are not familiar with it. So with that, really isn't a whole lot to say, because it is the first one. Nothing has really happened so far. I will say, in terms of story, this is technically after the events of, Prototype. But since a lot of that was just nothing really it's not like there's any major arcs that if you missed them, like wouldn't make sense, kind of. Maybe a few characters. But for the most part, you can pretty much start here and not really miss a whole lot. I mean, of course, not saying that the stuff we did is bad, but you won't be like out of the loop, so to speak. Hopefully as much. There might be a few things that might be a little confusing, but nothing major, I don't think. So, yep, that's going to be it. These intros are still going to be pretty improv, just kind of off the cuff remarks. After this first season, this first session, I was pretty, I felt pretty okay about what we're going so far. Definitely some things that I could tweak going forward. But that is what the next session will be about, which, as of this recording, I'm planning on doing the Friday actually after this episode goes live. So, yeah, there's some weird timing things I'm going to have to think about with these episodes, because if we go on for too long, because it's going to be due to the every other week release of Hazeltown Story, It's going to be weird timing occasionally, so yeah, I still got to think about how I'm doing that. But yeah, so I guess we can go ahead and start. So I'm going to start this off by reading off a letter. We're going to start this off with a letter that was addressed to a Mr. Theron Pendragon after the events of the last arc, which has successfully figured out some spying nonsense that had happened in the city. And after the events of that, Theron realized that, they might have potential, or the group as a whole might have potential as an actually, official thing. So they submit the paperwork in the city to kind of get themselves officially sanctioned by the city. And the letter that you're going to hear is kind of the results of that, or the results of that application. And after that, I'm going to introduce the people who are in this session. And, well, I guess that's going to be it. So I guess without any further ado, let's go ahead and start. Dear Mr. Pendragon, I am pleased to let you know that your application for the formation of an officially sanctioned investigation service within the Seedbearer region has been approved. Upon discussion with the following sponsors, based on the ideas you had in your application, we believe that your services may be beneficial to the region, as we are currently lacking the manpower and material to look into the unique cases similar to the ones your group has looked into. Captain Thea Brea, Castle Rock Republic. Sergeant Tobias, Thinking Rabbit Moon, D-Pass, Home Guard. Lieutenant Robert, Bounding Boulder Wolf, D-Pass, Home Guard. Olin Huxell, Citizen of the Council of Seedbearer Nations. Thomas Wilder, Citizen of Council of Seedbearer Nations. End of list. While not officially part of the department, your group's work will be overseen by the Department of Public Assistance and Safety under the team name Research Reading Rainbow. While we shall have limited control of what your group decides to finally investigate, we may call upon your group to investigate specific cases in need of your specialized services that we may expect your group to cooperate with. You shall be provided with an office for which to serve as a location for any managerial needs for your group. We understand that you'll be acting as director, Mr. Pendragon, and that Mr. Henry Laurel will be acting as your co-director and bookkeeper. Should you need an assistant for secretarial needs, we can provide one for you. I have attached my card to this letter for you to contact me with further details. Please do so at your earliest convenience. Best regards, Watching Falcon.
Hi, I'm Carnival. Yeah, I'm playing at least for the first off, for the start with, I'll be playing Claudia Lupin, is what she wants to call herself. Her actual legal name is Ginny Smith. She is, I guess, the pointed-eared human, which I'm gonna end up just calling them elves out of habit.
Oh.
But she is basically a security officer who, for that job, is basically people hire her to do breaking and entering to just see where their weaknesses are, who, bored with life, saw Lupin the Third and decided she's going to do that. And now she calls herself Claudia Lupin. I also play Elmas Gretter, a dragonkin.
Yes.
Which effectively is a Goku, but
Dragon, Rock the Dragon.
But she is an engineer who has no sense of right and wrong.
Damn straight.
And finally, I play Yuhar Governin, they them, a retired pirate from the South China Sea who is probably the closest thing the group has to the what you would call them, demolitions expert.
Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah, pyromaniac. We also
All
technically had a boat at one point.
Yes. I mean, that's all the characters now, because, I'm not using the other one.
All right. DM.
Hello, my name is Deathmaster, and I play Bob B, who is a shady businessman. His pronouns are he, him, and he's a dragon man who looks like Sam Elliott if he played Boss Hogg in Dukes of Hazzard. I also play Nelos Masters, a red panda lady who's obsessed with death.
Sounds familiar.
Hey, Torpo.
Yeah, okay. No, I was not touching up a toilet. I'm TorpidTypist, otherwise known as Torpo, and I play Iravia, who, with the new system, new her has gained 2 inches. It is now 6'2". Basically, she's a big ass cow woman who really likes to rough things up.
Yes. Okay.
Also pronoun she, her, and loves to dress in biker leathers.
Great.
And has her own motorcycle. Go on.
So there. That should be yes, like toilet touches. You all get a call. You now are requested to appear at a certain you are given a location of you're given a location of a building that is inside the city. It happens to be in let's just call it a government-owned building. It is particularly a building that holds a lot of not call centers for like most call centers. It's a lot of like touch up for like government work in terms of like I'm just trying to find a good way to describe it. Kind of like government business, like, oh hey, you are signed up for this, you can go ahead and do this. And yeah, that is what the building is for. You find that when you all get there, that is, you go into the office, like they say, oh, go into, or you get the call. It is from Theron. It's like, okay, go to a office like on the 14th floor. You'll find an office 14C, and you will go in there and just check out the office. So I take it you would all get there kind of roughly at the same time?
I mean, I'm not gonna be early. That's for sure.
I mean, as much as early as Claudia tries to get there as early as possible.
Okay.
Avi takes his time getting there.
Okay. So we'll start this roughly at 9. Like, let's say 9 in the morning, just because it will make the rest of this roll a little bit easier.
Yeah. Not showing up on time then.
So you all get there, and you actually go into the room. You find that it's open. In there, you find a lot of basically empty desks, and you find a whiteboard. You find a room that's essentially not really been used. However, you see that you could put stuff in there. And on kind of a center desk, you find that there is a note.
And it's all of us, or is it just?
It would be all 3 of you.
Yeah, okay, I fucking go to snatch the note.
On the note, you see that it reads as follows. Hello there. Now that we have as part of being sponsored by the Seedbearer government, we have been given this office to use because it was one that they were not using. It is in the center of the city, so it's a good kind of central hub if we need something to go to, or some kind of place that's kind of, if you need something in the city, there is that available to you now. This will be where a spot where if we all want to meet, we can. Not saying that you can also meet in other places, but here is a room that now you can use at your own for whatever things you would need for. And it seems like we are actually already have some work that is available for us. I got all these at the same time, so I will let you choose among yourselves how you want to tackle this. You will find in this room a whiteboard. I will on there. I have pinned 3 requests the 3 requests that I was given. I will let you tackle them as you please. I've also left additional notes on each of these tasks. If you need any additional services, I am available for any explanation. And it is signed Theron Pendragon.
No, okay, y'all catch all that?
Was
That makes sense to me.
Iravia reading it out loud the whole time?
Yes.
Then
That's
yes.
the idea. Okay, well, first order of business, we're gonna write down a list of furniture we need for this office because this is unacceptable.
First order of business, Bobby turns to Claudia and says, "Who are you?"
Hi, I'm Claudia Lupin. Okay, DM. First things first. Bobby has like nose like, right?
Yes, I think. I don't know.
That's a lie.
Okay.
I guess I do.
Yes. So you can tell that Claudia is lying about her name.
So, I'm your new,
Oh, in that
I'm
case-
the new hire here.
Bobby will say, "Well, hi, I'm Bobby."
So yeah, I'm your new wizard. She snaps her fingers and makes a bunch of sparks come out of her hand.
Ugh,
Ugh. Bobby shakes his head in dismay and says,
I
Ugh.
hate
I
wizards.
thought we were getting improvement from Elmas. Whatever. He takes out a business card and slaps it in Claudia's hand.
Elvis can at least do a goddamn job. Fucking wizards.
At this, Claudia will take the business card and then just, oh, don't worry, that the wizard is. I also do breaking and entering, so
And so do I. What's your point?
depends on how much.
Go ahead, Carl.
I mean, depends. Do you prefer you're focused on the breaking or the entering?
Both, actually.
Ah, the breaking. I see.
Bobby wouldn't know anything about breaking and entering. It was a lie, in case it wasn't obvious.
Yep. Yeah, as I say, I don't think anyone else has that ability.
Yeah, no, but also, like, Iravia is not gonna call Bobby out. This is more fun.
But yeah, happy to be of existence.
And we'll see about that. So we are walking in this den of sin. You'll crown the government building in disgust.
Literally anywhere you go is a den of sin. And me too, actually.
Yes, but my dens are sin or fun. Look at this place. Nothing fun happening here.
I'm telling you, we need to get a list going. Like, this is unacceptable. There's not even a sofa in here. Let alone chairs.
You're right. I happen to know some movers who can help us with that. Yeah, make your list. I'll make some calls.
We'll just invoice it to Theron, I guess. I don't know.
Sounds good to me. We could get cable running through here.
We really don't need cable.
Come on.
The government building, they probably have cable hooked up somewhere anyway. Just check the basement or something.
I wonder if
Some
we
wires.
can get the cameras in.
But anyway, so what are those jobs again that that Theron said we got?
Oh yeah,
Over there on the whiteboard, apparently.
All right. So at this point, I am going to cut here because I feel like this is a good time to talk about some of the mechanic changes of this. Rather than being kind of free-flowing like previous Hazeltown stories are, flow of time in this is more regimented because every day, and we're going to start doing these by days, has multiple segments. These segments basically being some periods which are labeled as downtime. There is one in the morning, and which is technically what you are in now. There is a investigation phase that occurs after that, which is kind of like mid-morning. There is another downtime phase that's in the afternoon, another investigation period that's in the evening, a short downtime going into night, and kind of a segment that you can kind of use for various different things, which I'll go over when we get to it. So right now, you are in a downtime period. which means that there are a few things that you can do. One of which right now, a lot of these would probably only be pertinent now once you actually are in the middle of a job. But I'll just kind of go over them I'll just kind of go over what some things you can do right now. One thing you can do if you feel like you need a particular piece of equipment or some sort of asset for whatever job you want to do, you can do that. Which, by the way, each person, like as in Carnival, DM, Torpo, you have 2 actions that you can do, which you can do with any of the characters in your roster. Which, keep that in mind. One of the things, as I mentioned, acquire asset would be one of those 2 things. Or like if you tried one, like, oh, I want to go get something, that would be one of them. One of your 2. Certain class things can give you more. Which actually, I feel like I'll do this actually after we kind of figure out what we want to do. Because I feel like we should kind of go over what your character's builds are. Like, just in a general sense. Just kind of explain for the people what the gameplay wise is. But yes. Other than acquiring an asset, another thing you can do is work on a long-term project, which a long-term project can be one of several things. It can be like researching into a book or something, or it can be doing some crafting. Crafting is a special system in which, hey, I want to build something. I can figure out how to make it and then build it. There's mechanics behind that. There's also, when you get into certain things, there are things like rituals, which will probably make more sense a little bit later on. But that is also where you would do that. So that is long-term projects. Now, another thing is relax and recover, which what that does is you can use one of your actions to basically recover all of your stress that you spent in the previous session. Also, you can roll a resistance roll to recover some harm. So that is kind of a major harm recovery system. Also, another thing you can do is train, which basically will give you 1 XP every time you do it to a track of your choice. Which I'll go over what the specific tracks are later on, or like once I get done with this. So that's what you can do for downtime. At the end of downtime, when everyone's done their actions, you will then take a look at what cases you have active, and each of you will determine what you want to work on. So if, say, Carnival wants to I'm going to be Elmis, and I'm going to work on case B. Then DM can go, I want to play as Bobby and work on case A. Torpo can go, I want to play as Iravia and work on whatever. So that's at the very end of that. So that is how we kind of determine what cases we're working on. So that is essentially what a downtime period is. I think before we get into the cases, and actually before I figure out what the downtime is, let me kind of explain for the people at home what your kind of characters are working with now. So let me open up, let's see, who's first? I got Iravia's up real quick. So how characters are built in this game, outside of your like physical stuff. A lot of tabletop games have like a class system, like, if you think about D&D, Paladin, like all that kind of things. A lot of Powered by the Apocalypse stuff has stuff like playbooks and all that. Forces of the Dark has also, I think they're also called playbooks, but they're also called archetypes, I believe.
Yeah, playbooks.
Yes. What we're doing here is basically there are 16 total archetypes or playbooks that you can pick from. Each person picks 2. So, for example, Iravia here has a archetype of the unique, an archetype of the muscle. Each one has different. Basically, it can add on to your harm levels in different ways. Some give more, some give less. Also adds on to your stress threshold, which some give more, some give less. Also determines what kind of equipment you can have, which we'll probably explain that one that's a little bit more prevalent, or like relevant. But right now it's not really that relevant. They level up in different ways. For example, the things that give them XP are a little bit different. Each one can give different access to different magic. For example, Torpo has in the unique, that gives you access to a magic called the Vox, which is it's kind of this game's, it's a very gimmicky magic thing, which we'll go over as it becomes more relevant. Another example is Torpo's the Muscle archetype gives you access to Technomancy. Also changes your starting stats a little bit. Each one also starts out with a different starting ability. For example, the Unique has one that's called Noticeable. Noticeable gives you, when you do different skills, you will get buffs on it to either Charm or Intimidate. Because your character has slightly different physical appearance, so that adds on to either Charming or Intimidation. And also the Muscle has one that whenever the muscle, that needs to be fixed. I need to put the right name in there. But whenever Iravia does a smash action that's unarmed, does a little bit extra damage to it.
He'll read applied research into the vocation.
Did I misspell diagnose?
Don't worry about it. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah, that's another reason why this is going to be fun, because I'm also seeing something I need to fix. Each archetype also has a set abilities that they can learn. One of those abilities actually lets you, for every class has at least one ability, lets you take stuff from another playbook or another archetype. The Unique happens to have 4 of them because they're a little bit different, because it has to be from separate instead of the same. Also, there are 3 special other unlocks that every archetype gets. For example, a lot of them you have access to another person, which gives you help. For example, the Muscles I Know Kung Fu, which basically whenever you hit an opponent, you can hit twice instead of once. Or some more esoteric things, like the things in the Unique. Something called Friends of Fate, which the description is as follows. Others are looking out for you. That's all you know.
I like Weirdness Magnet, which is even more vague.
Weirdness Magnet is also another good one, because the entire description of Weirdness Magnet is things around you are bound to get more interesting. That's the entire description of the ability.
That's it.
Also, whenever you make a character, you get access to a major and minor skill, which can be magic, or it can be something else that basically gives you a specialist like in one kind of skill that the player determines. For example, Iravia here has a magic and a benefit to a skill. The magic gives you various abilities. As you would imagine magic would be. You don't have to level up magic. You are given every ability at the start. I'll kind of go more into the magic as needed. There's also, I believe the 2 skills are called Vocation and Expertise, which gives you benefits to kind of special subjects that you choose. For example, Iravia has a vocation of construction, so that whenever we are dealing with someone who works in construction, Iravia will get benefits from that. There's that. Every character has a harm level, which is essentially their health. Their stress level, which can do multiple different things. It's essentially their mana. Although you can use it for non-magical things. Different levels of armor, which, works kind of like armor in the way that Genesis did it, where it kind of deducts amount of incoming damage. Luck, which is something we'll get into as we go further on, because it is essentially, there's no mechanical thing behind it. It's just a method for me to realize how screwed someone has been in rolls. So that if I need to give them a little bit of leeway. Equipment, you can only carry so much. Also, the different skills. So these up here, these things that like have very specific uses, those are called abilities. The more general things that you do, like you would imagine that as like this is like 90% of what you do in a tabletop game is use skills. So if you remember how it was when we did Genesis, it's like, oh, you want to roll skullduggery, or you want to roll ranged, or you want to roll some specific magic. The way that this works, whereas, say for example, Torpo wanted to do something. Beforehand, Torpo would say, I want to break down a door, for example. Then I would say, you need to roll this skill at this difficulty. It's not how that works in this game. In this one, Torpo looks at the various skills that Iravia has, which there's a very specific ones that I put stuff into, and says, oh, okay, I'm doing something physical for a door. I want to smash this door. Because smash is one of the abilities that, Iravia has at her disposal. To which I say, okay, you want to do that. I will give you the level of potency of it, because sometimes more, obviously if you do things that are like, if you try and smash on a door, that's going to get you more benefit out of it, other than say, like shooting a door. If you want to open a door, like just smashing it open would probably do something more than, say, throwing something at it. So I'd say, oh, you have a much greater effect if you actually smash it. Also, I will tell you the danger level of it is, because sometimes if you don't do the thing properly, you will have repercussions of that. So you tell me what to do, what you want to do with what skills you want to do. I tell you the risk of it and how potent it is.
Okay, but let's say I want to, hypothetically speaking, smash it in with a chair. Oh, look, anything's a weapon. Plus 1d when using improvised tools for your action.
Yes, so you will have increased benefit of...
on top of my 4 smash.
Yes. So what the numbers mean specifically, for example, if we want to do smash, Iravia has a level of 4 in smash. That means that when Torpo, or as Iravia, Torpo would roll at base, let's not include any other benefits, Torpo would roll 4 dice. The number base, and from those 4 die, you pick the one that has the highest value. So if you roll, say, a 1, a 3, a 2, and a 5, you take the 5. And what the 5 you're comparing that to is a table, as Carnival mentioned earlier. 1 through 3 is considered a failure. What that means depends upon the risk value. Because if you do it under a controlled circumstance, which basically means there's no risk, you basically don't do the action, but you're kind of free, so it doesn't really, you can't like try it again, but you don't like take any harm out of it. However, if you say, I want to smash someone in the middle of combat while they're pointing a gun at you, and you fail doing it, you will then get hit from it, most likely. If you get like rolled a 1 or 3. 4 and 5, what that means is you do what you want to do. So it's like, oh, Torpo smashes the person, hits the person with the chair. However, it's a partial success, because it will either not hit to the most of its ability, or Torpo will take a consequence. So, for example, could hit the person square on with the chair, they take full damage. However, they also get a shot in at Iravia. There are ways to mitigate that, but we'll go over that when we actually get to a roll.
Lucky for Iravia, she's a fucking beast.
Yeah. So that is how this works differently than other things. Another thing, especially as I mentioned, XP tracks. So the things you can put in XP if you are training any downtime period, you can put it into either one of your archetypes, so you can increase your XP by 1, or you can put it into these tracks for your XP, which each group of skills has a different one. For example, physical is smash, aim, maneuver. Intellect, which is research, tinker, interface. Cunning, which is investigate, sabotage, diagnose. Heart, which is focus, care, endure. And charisma, which once the tooltip goes away, is charm, intimidate, and deceive. How these normally go up is if you say if Iravia would try and do an aim action and failed doing it, XP would go up by 1. Every time you get 5 XP in one of these tracks, you can increase one of the abilities. So, for example, if you do it in physical, if Torpo would get 5 XP, can increase one of these abilities by 1 to a maximum of 4. So, it would have if somehow Torpo got the 5th XP off of a smash roll, he couldn't increase Aravia's XP to 5. It would have to go to aim or maneuver. And that's pretty much the character sheet stuff. That's the base mechanics of this game. There are some more intricate things that will come up as we get to them, but for now, that's a good descriptor of how this game works. Does anyone have any questions?
Do you want us to just tell the audience what our archetypes are and what they do quickly?
Sure, I'll go over the characters they were planning on playing. So, since next in line, Carnival, Claudia Lupin. Claudia is a skulker and a wizard. So, skulker is a lot of stealthy stuff. A lot of skills that when you get to them basically give you benefits if you are sneaking or if you're doing something not necessarily. It doesn't have to be like you're doing like the sneak trying to crawl around. If you just do something unnoticed like sleight of hand stuff, that also counts. And the wizard is, as you would imagine, it's using magic to do things, even to the point where even if you don't need to do magic, you can get benefits from it. And also, Carnival, as you would imagine, has wizardry Claudia has wizardry at her disposal. Also, she has a vocation of thief/security, which basically means if we're dealing with lockpickers or other kind of thieves, Claudia will get a benefit. And if we're talking about Bobby, Bobby has the face and the agent. The face is a lot of charisma-based stuff like gaining benefits from having conversations with people, having like deceiving and charm things have better potency, things like that. The agents is a little bit more interesting one because the agent, when a character agent, that means that they have an allegiance to a particular organization. That organization could be a country, could even be things like, for example, Bobby has a good one. The Consortium, which is actually a criminal group. So essentially a mob. Which I guess I'll let you kind of explain that.
I'll do that later because I'm pretty sure it's going to come up on one of the jobs.
All right. But yeah, it's as you, or actually I have it written down here. You can have, for example, an agency for an agent. You can work for a religious organization or some sort of secular secret society. And that gives you benefits it gives you kind of benefits to say things like sabotage is one that also gives you benefits for, and some other abilities. Bob does not have any magic, however, gains benefits to when dealing with high society people, business people, as well as good at playing guitar, and whenever using guitar can get some benefits out of it.
The last campaign.
Yes. So that is Claudia and Bobby's abilities as well. So with that, I think we are actually good to actually start playing the game.
Oh,
Once I
there's a
figure out-
game?
Yeah. Now that we've gotten the description out, once I find my mouse cursor, we can go back here.
The description implies a single description.
Yes. All right. So we'll do it like this. Since you're in a downtime period, Carnival, what do you want to do with your two downtime abilities?
So the first thing is like, all right, I wanted because Elmas is an engineer and thus has crafting. I wanted. So are both the spider legs and I know the Magilens, the improved Magilens are done because we used that in a previous session, but are the spider legs done?
Because what you get one off the bat, and then you got another. You leveled up in a skill that gave you another one, correct?
Yes.
Let me check to make sure that's. I believe they're both done.
Okay. I just want to make sure if they weren't done, that was what one of those are going to be. But since they're both done, that's something else. So the first thing, Claudia is going to start practicing. Is going to go do a training action, and what she's training is like climbing up buildings, getting around, parkour stuff.
All right. So I take it you are training physical.
Yes.
Okay. So increase your physical tract for XP by 1. All right. And you can denote that by any way you want, whether or not you want to do that as a number or not.
I'm doing it as a number. Just finding the sheet.
Actually,
I'm putting that as in my playbook, actually.
Oh, you're putting in your playbook? Okay. So you could technically do training twice if you want. Just to say, you can do things like that. Put them both in that.
Okay, yeah, then I'll do that both and just take 2 to start for that.
Okay. So I take it you're just doing the same thing twice.
Yep, just more running around, chopping over buildings.
All right. DM, what will you do with your 2 abilities or 2 downtime actions?
I have no idea. Just assumed we were going to go straight into the job.
Uh,
Kind of weird pacing to like say here's some jobs and then here's some side stuff.
the problem is that it's just at the start because I wanted to get this done with before you started investigation.
Here's some jobs. But in other news,
I would imagine you did this before you went to the building, which is why I kind of wanted to do this before that, but I decided just to kind of start off the thing with, that explanation. I would say at this point, I would probably put both of your things to do training.
Sure.
You can pick that. It doesn't have to be the same character. You can put it in between any of your characters.
Can I just do nothing?
You could.
All right, then I'm just going to do nothing.
All right. Torpo.
what are my options again? Sorry.
So technically your options are you can go and try and acquire something for a job like an asset. You can work on a long-term project such as crafting, researching into something, or just performing a ritual, which you don't really have anything to do for that. You can relax and recover, but you're all at full health and stress. And you can train, which means you can add 1 XP to one of your tracks.
I can train. Yeah, you know what? I'll train.
So what will you be training?
I want to train the unique, but I have no clue how I'd fucking do that.
Let me look at your thing. Honestly, you could probably just try meditation or just relaxing.
Can't relax in this fucking office. You know what? I'm going out to buy furniture for the office. That's what I'm doing.
All right. So do you want to do that twice?
Yes. This fucking place sucks.
You know what? Fine. Bobby will go with. And I'll do my other thing is I'm going to train the scholar on Nelos because Nelos has been doing something off screen.
Okay.
That I'll talk about whenever we get to her.
Yeah, I'll spend 1 furniture shopping and the other I will just relax for the unique.
Okay.
Need that fucking sofa.
There. So there's your downtime abilities or actions. So now that that's been done, let's talk about the actual cases that you have at your disposal. So I'll just describe the cases for you as in the players. Let me get them up real quick. God, I have way too many tabs open. Doesn't help that I have tabs in my browser and then the tabs at the bottom of the one particular tab. Okay. So you have 3 cases at your disposal. These case names are for our use. These are not what they're labeled in universe. The first one is called Cartoon Heroes, and I'll read the description as follows. The infamously secretive group of authors and artists named the Canary Group has been trying to expose ulterior motives behind political figures and groups through graphic novels and comics for several years. A contact for their group seems like they might have some need for our special services. You will need to find the contact and figure out whether or not we should help them out. That is one. The client who is listed, who gave you that, gave an alias of Mr. Blue Sky. The next one on the list is labeled Computer Love. The description and the person who gave you the job is Lucas Hawthorne, who was the bartender from the last job, the mouse guy who was a friend of Radia's. The description was as follows. I got a friend who helps manage one of the robotics test labs in the city, and he's noticed some strange break-ins that have resulted in some very specific things getting stolen. The problem is they couldn't find any sign of anyone actually breaking in. We could probably help give some extra eyes to the place, both physically and digitally. The third one is labeled Absinthe with Faust. This one is given by Lila. The description as follows. Our museum is wanting to put on a retrospective to a recently deceased author and artist, Reed Winters. He infamously moved to the Seedbearer region to, quote unquote, get in touch with the natural aura of the earthbound people of the area and attune to his mystic self. We had noticed that we have been granted permission to look through the house he was living in for anything that might be worth showing off of the exhibit. Also, worth noting, is that this house was avoided by the locals and he kind of kept mostly to himself, as the land and specifically the house that he lived in was considered to be cursed. So those are your 3 cases.
All right.
So before we kind of point out, I would like to just clarify, you could, in theory, go each of you split up. However, if you want to group up, that's also perfectly fine.
Would probably be better since this is our first time and there's only 3 of us.
I already know what I'm doing anyway.
So I will do it like this. Carnival, which character do you want to use and which one do you want to kind of send out?
Claudia is going to investigate Cartoon Heroes.
All right.
Ugh.
DM.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Does the description of the whiteboard for Cartoon Heroes, does it actually mention the Canary Group?
It does.
Okay, well then. Bobby, when he reads that, will just start cackling to himself, and then he'll take that job.
Okay. Torpo.
So Iravia looks at the 3 notes, just goes, nerd shit, this guy might have drugs, I'm going for that one, and decides to go with C.
Okay. So just to clarify, Claudia and Bobby are going to go work on the Cartoon Heroes job, and Iravia, you are going to do the Absinthe with Faust job.
Mm-hmm.
So I will give kind of the description that was given with the note for your 2 characters. So Bobby and Iravia. They're Bobby and Claudia. Let me get my thing for here to kind of say what the thing was. Attached with this note that the description that I gave says, the person who I was in contact with did not give a whole lot of information about themselves. However, they didn't even really give a way to contact them in particular. However, they noted that you could find you can find more information to kind of get a hold of them. I've hid a card in a book at the Welcome Square Library. The book is named Eagle's Prey. The name of the book is Eagle's Prey, a Red Butcher story, Volume 2. The artist or the author is listed as Sonny Somerville for that book. When you also is listed, he also, or it's also noted, the person who contacted me also said that there is also, if you need it in the future, he did not say why. He gave a password that is the phrase "brother's keeper."
Got it.
So that is what you're given for that job. Iravia, you basically are given attached is a hold on, I just kind of figure out. Attached was basically the address of the place. It is in a town that is called Honeymound. It is about 10 minutes east of the city. So just kind of looking at the roll 20 here.
So
just kind of,
Honeymound sounds like a euphemism.
yes,
Iravia
but
will bring this
also,
up.
so it is, if you take a look at the map of the area, just kind of in the bottom right. Let's see, how do you ping in?
I think it's either control click or just click and hold it.
You just click and hold.
Oops. I broke something. Oh, hey, those things set up. Click and hold. Oh. So yeah, right here. It is like right on the little.
That is tiny.
Yeah, it's kind of had to work with, but yeah, it's to the west of the city. Kind of underneath Oakbrook, which was where you met the ghost.
Okay.
It's another town. So basically, you would want to pick one place in which you want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
So really, both of your cases, there's really kind of one key spot you want to go to. For Claudia and Bobby, that would be the library, the Welcome Square Library. For Iravia, that would probably just be the house.
Did I get a key with the note?
Yes.
Maybe some photos of the place?
Yeah, let's just say that you got some you got some material about the house.
Okay, yeah, because I was debating just asking the townies first before I went in.
You could kind of go and investigate around, like I would say, like you could go to the house and maybe like the area around it. I would say.
Yeah, that's the idea.
So there is that. So let me figure out.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Can we play multiple characters at once?
It depends upon what you want to do.
Because I would say that the house would have had interest to Nelos.
Actually, no, I don't think that would be that bad of an idea, because I would see it might be confusing if you're playing like two players at the same time, the same thing. But if you want to send them, yeah. So I'll say that should be fine.
Oh, in that case, then Elvis is gonna waltz right over to computer love.
All right.
Please, no. Oh, this is gonna get bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my
that's
issue
fair.
with the double dipping is it's just gonna bloat things.
Yeah, let's try doing two at once. Just kind of saying this as like a timeout, just to kind of clarify, just to make it easier for the playing. Let's just say at most two for now. We'll see how this goes, and then if it turns out like, oh, it's fine, then we can try spreading out. But I think let's just do the two scenes first off, and then regroup.
All right, that sounds fair.
Okay, so let me just try and figure out what to do first. Let's do the library, because I think it'll be the shorter scene. So now we enter the investigation phase, which if for the morning, it's basically going to be the same as we normally do. We're just in investigation phase. It's basically one scene at one place for that phase. So, Claudia and Bobby, you head into the city, into the Welcome Square Library, which neither of you entered into last arc, but you could have. It is in the same area, general vicinity, as the kind of the issue, the spying place. You go into the library, it's a pretty decently stocked urban library. And you go into the library, and what would you want to do?
I mean,
That book located?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Where's that book located? The one we're supposed to find?
So you were just given a name of a book. It wasn't like it didn't list where it would be.
in that instance, I would just say Claudia's going to go to the nearest computer and just look up the book's name, and just Dewey Decimal. It's a library.
Okay. I don't even think that would not be a rollable check. So if you're just going to go in and just kind of search for the book, you do find the book. You see that it is located. It is located in the fiction section. And you find the listing. You find the full name of the book. You find the name of the author, which is Sonny Somerville. It is listed as a graphic novel. You find that it is written. It was written about, say, a year ago, and that's about it.
Bobby will take the book off the shelf and quickly flip through it. Bobby also, by the way, since they started a job, has just had a constant shit-eating grin on his face.
So as you flip through it, you see that there's a couple copies. However, you pick one up. You kind of flip through it, and as you do so, you feel like you hear a card or something small fall out of the book, and you kind of look down, and you see that there is a index card that fell out of the book, and on the index card is listed as follows. It just says, call. They give you a phone number and say the password given.
Bobby hands the card to Claudia, and then will actually start leafing through the graphic novel, trying to pay attention to the content.
All right. So as you...
Basically, he's looking to see if he recognizes any similarities to the people in the book to real life.
I'm trying to think, because I don't know if this is really a rollable. I think you would just kind of, in this case, you would kind of know what it is off the bat, because you kind of flip through. You do notice some particular people in there. As you kind of go through, you see pictured in the book with pretty decent accuracy. You see Ronald Reagan, who is currently the governor of California at this point, at several points in the book. And you see also in the book, you do find particular symbols that you feel like you might have seen before. In particular, a symbol that looks like you see a pair. Oh, let's see. What do you see? That's a good question. You see a very, you see a etching that looks very much like a swan.
See.
And the insignia usually is accompanied by people that generally look like they are up to shady business.
Avi will just cackle to himself again and then put the book back on the shelf.
Also, actually, one other thing I will say on the book, in the card is you also might want to actually, it should have said that on the thing, but I forgot to read it on the initial note. You might want to take a look at this book. It will have certain pertinence to the matter that we would be discussing.
I mean, that's fine. Claudia was going to check out the book and to read on her own time anyway, so.
All right. So, okay, with that, you have that card that has the phone number on it. Also, you've checked out the book.
So, do you want to call or should I?
Bobby just smiles again and says, "Sure, I'll give him a ring."
Okay. So you kind of you call the number on the phone. You hear after a while you hear a click, and you hear someone kind of muffled answer and just says, "Yes."
What was the password?
Brother's keeper.
Brother's keeper.
You hear the voice reply, "Talk to the thinking rabbit."
Did they hang up?
And they hang up.
Ugh, thinking rabbits.
So, is there anything in the book that would point to that symbol, or do we?
Anything in the book that I would say it would take you about I'm trying to think if I want to make you roll for a progress clock here to try and read through the book. Let me take a look at your ability. Actually, how about that? Since that's not how this game's supposed to work. If you want to go and try and read through the book quickly, you can try and roll a skill roll, and I'll see whether or not you get through the book in its entirety, or you get through the book to the point where you need it.
Sure, I can go for that.
How would you like to do that?
Do a research roll, because this seems like that fit.
Okay, so I would say if you're doing research, obviously that would be probably the best choice. I would say that obviously there is no pressure on this, so it's controlled. And I would say that would be if you're trying to figure out what the symbol is, that is a great, or it's the hell's the phrasing for it? It's you get a increased benefit.
Great effect.
Yes, great effect.
And I'm going to go ahead and spend 2 stress to push myself, which will add me another die, so that I'll be rolling 2d6.
Okay, and this is as Claudia?
Yes.
Okay, let me go ahead and...
Hold position.
Position is controlled, yes.
And there we go. A 6.
All right. You rolled a 6 and a 1. So yes, you succeed. I would say that you would find that pretty quickly. You see that the swan is associated with, and it's listed in the book, is associated with the group called Cygnus.
Bobby just snorts, shakes his head. These fuckers again.
To give you an additional context, the book list is a story of the protagonist who is named what the hell is his name? Too many things open. Whose name is Red Butcher, who is a kind of a vigilante who is kind of trying to tackle various evil groups. The general story is about Ronald Reagan secretly trying to hire the group Cygnus, who the others will know that encountered earlier. They are a group who is basically trying to they are essentially white supremacist, not quite neo-Nazis, because Nazism is weird in this universe because World War II never happened. So they're basically that. And they are being hired to sow chaos in the Seed Bearer region.
You've dealt with them before? Cool.
Cool's not the word I would use, but yes, we've crossed paths.
It sounds like a great adventure. That sounds great.
All right.
If you say so.
Is there anything else you'd want to do with that?
I mean, well, I guess if we have that information, let's go try and find the talking rabbit.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else at the library you'd want to do?
No, nothing other than just checking out the book, so that doesn't need a scene, so...
Bobby, is there anything else you want to do?
Nope.
Master Thief will not take from a library.
I mean, you don't need to steal. That's just complicated. That's complication and complication.
It's complicated.
Complexity, yeah, complexity addiction. We don't need to do it, so let's just sidestep that step altogether.
Okay. So that will be your work at the library. Nelos and Iravia, you head to the. Sorry, that.
I'm just gonna say, Torpid, do whatever you want with this. I have a specific point where I know I can jump in Nelos.
I mean, okay, so first thing Iravia would do, instead of going straight to the house, would be asking around, particularly showing off pictures of the house if I had them, which you said I did.
Yep.
And just asking about the story behind the house and also the curse, because in Iravia's experience, you don't fuck with curses.
All right. Okay. Just to get a general, if you're just asking a general question, if you just talk to like people in the general area, let's just say as you kind of go into the area, it is a pretty. Think about like it's not rural, but it's kind of suburban. There are like houses kind of over the place.
It's a township.
It's your
township.
It's a town. Like there's nothing really out of the ordinary about it. The area kind of generally around it. The house in particular is actually in an apple orchard. It is an apple orchard that's right next to it's by the kind of like the grocery store. It's in one of those areas that's not quite in the town, but it's like on the side. There's some houses, there's some corner stores and all that. Which if you get into the area, if you just kind of see people around, as you kind of show them the house, usually the reaction they have is kind of making a sour face to it. Are you particularly showing the house or the person? Which I would say also, given you would say, oh, here's a description of the person. You might have a picture of them as well.
I'd be talking more about the house because that's what has me more curious than the actual person who lived there.
There's like a good number of people there. You notice that the younger people like say late teens to early 20s, generally they're like, I've heard things about the house, but I don't know anything in particular about the house. You generally find the older the person you talk to, the more of a sour face they make, and they go, "Oh, that house is just nothing good ever happens with that house. Not even using the orchard there. No one really wants to take it. It's just kind of there's just a bad vibe about the house."
What do you mean?
It's just a place that there's been a couple owners of that house, and the original owner was a person that the town held in kind of high regard, but things just kind of happened in that house. I think there was a murder in there, actually.
Murders happen all the time, though.
But then after the original murder, the people who had lived in there generally had a bad time in there, except for then that weird like European dude came in and took it, and he was kind of a strange person, just kind of always felt weird about it. And
so you didn't like him because he was a foreigner, And the other people sound like they didn't get along with their house because there was a murder there. And murders tend to really sour the mood in a building, associations and all that. Look, I'm just wondering where the curse fits in.
All I know is that the people in that house generally they thought that there is just bad things happened in that house.
You're
That's
fucking
the general vibe.
useless. You're absolutely useless.
But yes, the general vibe you get is bad things happen in the house. The feeling of the person that moved in there, the Reed Winters, he had the air of someone who felt, the kind of person that takes a look at certain outside cultures as if they were the view of say Disneyland. It's if you think about the people who think of certain countries as if they were their entire view is viewed by that one place at Epcot that has the
Yeah.
World Pavilion. Those kind of people. And you're oh, they're exotic.
Look, I'm just gonna look at this person who gave me the info, and I've just said, look, bad things happen to places all the time. I mean, like the building you were born in. Okay? I'm leaving.
All right. As you do that, that's kind of the vibe that you get from.
Just not putting up with this townsperson shit. Come on, I wanted an interesting curse, and it's just people angry about a person living there. So yeah, Iravia is just gonna head straight for the house from here.
All right. Okay. As you go into the house, you find that the gate. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
When Iravia approaches the house, they see a short individual in a baggy black raincoat and baggy pants, quietly staring at the house.
What's up, Shorty?
Nelos turns, looks at Iravia and just goes, hello.
No, it's you. It's been a while, I guess. So, what brings you to this shithole?
Curses.
Yeah, I heard, but it just sounds like the usual, oh, bad things happen to the people here. It's unfortunate homeowners.
Are you here on a job?
Yep. I've got the key.
Fuckers actually got something interesting for once.
I mean, we've had some interesting stuff, sort of. Indirectly interesting, but interesting. But, if you're here, sure, why not? I've got the keys, so I may as well let us in.
Oh. And here I was trying to figure out how to break in.
As much fun as breaking in is, it's better to save our energy for whatever worthless curse is here. Just Iravia already ready for disappointment.
Okay. Is there anything you particularly want to do to get into the house or into the? I would say at the gate of the place, it is locked. You do have a key for it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna unlock it. I don't need to break anything if I got keys. That's wasted effort.
Yeah, you have a ring of keys that should open up pretty much anything in the vicinity, in the property, so to speak.
Iravia is gonna spend 5 minutes going through the entire key ring until she finally finds the last key is the key she needs.
You go in as you kind of walk into the onto the thing. There is a path that, as you see apple trees that generally are. Well, I guess you really don't have to cultivate trees. They're just kind of. You see apples on the they weren't really taken care of that well.
They're overripened on the branch at this point.
Yeah. As you go into the estate, it is a pretty large house. You would imagine from the outside seeing it, it's about 2 stories. It is a pretty I don't want to give it a thing. It is a larger than average house.
On the scale of Resident Evil, where are we with the house?
It's not a Spencer mansion. It's about, I would say, maybe a quarter of a mansion. It is a large house for the suburbs, but it is not a mansion. You can also tell that this house was this wasn't part of a housing wasn't like a specific company made this. This was someone, like one person built this house. It's not like it was like done shoddily, but you can tell just by design that this was done by someone who normally does not build houses.
Ah, good. The best kind of house.
You also notice that it is an incredibly square house.
Oh, no creativity.
Square in the shape, or
Square is in the shape, like not as it is a very functional house. It is also it is square in actually both terms.
How many floors?
2.
is there a basement?
Sure. I actually hadn't thought about that, but yes, let's say that there's a basement.
Is there an attic?
You can't tell from the outside.
Okay, well, guess it's time to go in. Oh, when you say like a basement, you mean like a cellar?
Oh, if there is a basement, it would be actually you wouldn't be able to tell from the outside.
Yeah, okay. I was wondering if it was like internal doors or is like cellar doors on the outside.
No, it is not a cellar. It is a basement.
Okay. Well, guess we're going in then.
As you walk in, you walk essentially into the living room. It is a older building. You can tell that this house probably was made about at least a century ago. There isn't a whole lot. It has been updated for things like electricity. There are the person who lived in here last did not. They led a relatively simple life, like like in terms of they. The house looks like it could have been furnished with exactly what it had in there about 20 years ago. The most electronic thing and advanced technology that was in here is maybe a radio. A radio you can tell probably is about 20 years old. If there is a TV, it is a very old model that is like at least like black and white at least, very large for the screen size it is. Like maybe like what we would say is like a 50s or 40s even model TV. Which actually, now that I think about it, would be a 50s model TV because I don't think there was TV in the 40s.
Is an invention of the 50s.
Yes, so it is a very early model TV, but there is a layer of dust on pretty much anything, even though, or I should say, it wasn't like kept up particularly well. It wasn't like trashed, but it didn't dust very often, and you could
Wasn't
tell
well maintained.
Yeah, you can tell that someone has not really moved things in for at least a couple days. You can tell that things had been used, but yeah.
Well, I'm taking the second floor. You can do whatever you want down here.
I will also say, since I believe, let me check your abilities real quick. Let me check something because I might need to give you information. Oh, let me check.
You talking about Beacon?
Maybe. Uh, something else. I just need to check what your passives are. You know what? Yeah, I'll say this. As you walk in, you get an incredibly, and I mean incredibly faint feeling in the back of your mind that something is here.
Oh, good.
Or rather, you get a faint feeling of something that is either currently here but not very strong, or has been here.
Nelos, you may have been on the money.
Oh, why is that?
It's complicated.
Complicated how?
There might be a thin thread here we're dealing with. There's something here.
Nelos, who's been acting bored and half asleep, suddenly snaps open and looks straight at Iravia. Where?
Sorry about that. My headset died. Give me a second, so I missed what you said, and I need to plug it in real fast. Sorry. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. But Dan, what did you say?
So Nelos, who's been like half bored and half asleep, suddenly snaps to attention when you said that, looks straight at Iravia and says, "Where?"
I don't know. I don't even know if it's still here. But something here don't feel right. Let's say.
Nelos is suddenly looking around the room a lot more intently.
Like, just don't go into too violent. But I'm gonna head upstairs.
Said anything about violence, and she'll start examining the bottom floor.
Okay. So the staircase that will lead to upstairs is in the living room. As you go upstairs, let me check. You can, as you go upstairs, you can tell that it leads into a hallway that kind of leads in a kind of the outer, like if you think about the building as a square, you can kind of take a look at just the general vicinity of the staircase, and you can see that it leads you into a hallway. That the center you don't have access to because you can, judging by, it's hard to see from the outside, but you can kind of see a window looking into the center of the house, and you can tell it actually looks outside. Because there is light bleeding in through the window. But as a general glance, as you look around the building or like the staircase, you can tell that it kind of leads around and that it almost seems like there are 4 rooms in this house on the second floor that kind of go around in a square shape.
In the hallway, would I see anything to pull down for the attic?
Let me think. Actually,
Can just say there isn't an attic. It's okay.
You know what? Just for sake of this, no, there is not an attic.
Okay, well, I'll start taking the rooms one by one.
Okay. Let me think about how I want to do this. Sure. Are you just going to do a cursory glance of the rooms, or are you going to go into check into a room and then go into it, or are you just going to kind of see what's around?
I am gonna rip these rooms apart.
Okay. Let's do it like this. You go into the room. You see that as you go upstairs, you see the light shining out of one of the windows, but you see that there is a door directly to your left. As you go in there, you can actually you actually go up the staircase, and this staircase is going into the house. So there's a room behind you that would face towards the front of the house. And as you go into the room, you can see it is a room that has a lot of several bookcases that have books in it, and several tables, and there are 2 windows, both of which have telescopes by them.
That's a little weird, but okay.
On the tables, you can find all sorts of documents and books there, and various. It's just a complete mess of paper and books.
Is there any sort of thread holding these together, like that strings these together, or is it just like random crap?
Do me a favor then, and in order to check that, I should say phrase like this: if you want to dive deeper, you would have to skill check.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
What do you want to do to check?
I mean, really, it's just look through the papers and see if I can catch anything that looks like it might bring them together or anything like that.
So I would argue that if you're looking for a skill for that, that would probably be your investigate.
Yep. And would I roll beacon since this is related to the supernatural?
Wait, hold on. Beacon, you were always a sense of supernatural entities. In this particular case, no, you wouldn't.
Okay, I just figured by any means would.
It's this in particular does not have supernatural. Like it is. Oh wait, hold on 1 second. This is not dealing like you're not investigating about a specific entity. This could be about research looking into the supernatural, which Beacon would not cover.
Okay.
Just to clarify another thing, because it's we kind of glossed over because Carnival actually do the system prior. But you actually have two especially since you're if you're going to do investigate, you only have one in there. So there are two ways you can increase your roll and add dice to it. One is to push yourself, which just costs 2 stress, and you just get another dice. There is also a thing where you can get an additional dice on top of that called a Devil's Bargain. Which a Devil's Bargain, if I will give you a minor setback that even if you get the dice and you achieve it, will still happen. Or even if you fail it, it'll still happen. That is a way
If
to
you
get a
succeed.
third.
You said
Yeah.
it's comes with the dice. That's what it means.
Yes. But once I tell you what the thing would be, you can choose to deny it at that point, if you wish.
I think I'll just push.
Okay. In that case, that's just 2. So you'd be rolling 2. In Roll20, do you have your macro thing set up?
No, I don't. That's why I was asking before about the stats.
Oh, whoops. So go over to. Do you know where the macros tab is?
It's the 3 dots with the lines, like the list thing. And if you're so just click in the should. Oh crap! Do you have to insert that for everybody, or does it?
No. So what you should have to
No.
do.
Do I generic or action?
It's action.
Action. You can also do the show quick macro bar, and it will give you the 3 buttons.
Yes, the 3 buttons I don't see.
So if you go ahead and is it asking you for what to do?
Okay, now it's finally asking me what to do.
Okay. So the roll, I will say, since you have no pressure, it is a controlled position, and the effect is normal.
That's 2 dice, 1 for my normal, and also because of the
push.
Yeah.
So you rolled a 3 and a 5, which gives you a mixed success. So let me think of what. Hold on, I gotta get the. So technically, you're now down to 8 stress. Oh wait. Oh no, hold on. Nope, I screwed that up. I took it up too much. Okay. So, I'll say it like this. What I'll say is, you do actually find a. You are able to find a link. However, the consequence that I'll say for your mixed success is that you don't find as good of information as you would normally.
Okay.
If you want to get full, like if you want to basically negate that thing, you can do what's called a resistance roll. Which what that means is you see on your sheet, and I'll actually bring up the sheet for everyone who's watching. If you go to your sheet and you see, since you rolled investigate, you see how you have a resistance thing here that says resistance 1 under cunning?
Yeah.
What that means is that you would roll what you would do to negate that is you would essentially take 6 stress minus essentially doing a resistance roll, which you would subtract that 6 from the highest number of the dice match. So you have a resistance of 1, you would roll 1 die. And it would be 6 minus the result of that 1 die. That would be a stress penalty that you would take. So that could go all the way up to 5 stress to basically make that information full instead of partial.
I think I'll go with partial for now. As funny as it would be to run my stress ragged because I got a fuckload of it.
Yeah, so I just wanted to point that out because anytime you get a mixed or failure, you can negate the consequences like that.
Because I do have 10 stress to burn at the moment, but no, I think I'll hold off.
Yeah. So you kind of take a look through there. You look through the material that you have at your disposal, and you don't get the specifics of it, but you do find that it is talking about supernatural beings that exist on the planets of Venus and Mars.
Okay. Well, this is proven to be stupid.
Is there anything else you want to check in that particular room?
I mean, the papers were the defining thing. I don't think there's. I mean, I'll guess I'll fucking pull apart the books, but that'll take a while.
Okay, I'll let you kind of do that. Nelos, I think you're just kind of going throughout the first floor.
Yes.
As you kind of go through there, just to kind of see, the first floor is a pretty standard house. You see a living room, there is a kitchen with a side bath, there's a dining room, there's a master bedroom, and also a secondary bedroom. Is there any particular room you want to kind of poke around in?
Actually, I'll say Nels wants to look for the basement. There is one.
There is a basement. It is tied. Is basically it's in the entrance of the basement's in a living room.
Okay.
In the you just see that it's a basement going downstairs. Going into the basement, you kind of see that there was a lot of tables. Like it's an unfinished basement. There's a lot of storage. There is also some tables set up down there, and a desk that have a bunch of. There is a bunch of like journals scrapped around, like kind of tossed around. On one table, you see a lot of what look like journals, and then you see another table that has like a like another journal on it that looks a little bit more clean, I guess. If that makes sense.
So yeah, Nellos will go over and investigate the journals.
All right. So do you want to just take a cursory look through it, or do you want to like deep dive into it?
Deep dive. Nellos knows
Okay.
there's a ghost now.
How would you like to deep dive by that I mean what skill would you like to use to get into that?
I'll do research.
Okay, so you will research into these books.
Yes.
So in that case, again, there's no risk involved at this point. So that would be a controlled, and that would be a let's say normal effect.
I'm a little bit lost on what I'm doing here in Roll20.
Okay, so in Roll20, go to there it is. Go to, you see at the top where it's the three. Hold on. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in macros.
You have a macros. A quick thing, you see where it says show macro bar or show macro quick bar?
Yes.
Click on that.
It's already checked.
Oh, it is. So you should have a thing in your bottom left that's a action roll, generic roll, and resistance check. Do you not have those three buttons?
No, I have them.
Okay. So click action roll.
Unchecked. All right. And controlled. What am I putting as my effect?
Standard.
And number of dice was.
So you have 3 by base. Do you want to spend 2 stress to make that 4?
No. 3 should be fine.
So 3. Okay, so you rolled a 4, a 2, and a 4. So that's a mixed success. So again, I'll basically give you the same thing that I'll give Torpo. As you go through, you're gonna get the mixed part of it is you're not gonna get as much of an effect as you were, and by that I mean you'll get a general idea of what the things are about, but you won't get like a detailed view of it. Okay. If you want, you can do a resistance, but again, just like Torpo, you only have for your resistance, it would only be 1, so you're essentially rolling. You would essentially take 6 stress minus the result of that one die.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Just tell me what she learned from the journals from these roles.
Okay. She goes through the journals and kind of has a little bit of a rough time going through. What you can tell, or what she can tell by going through the journals, is that these are old journals. These are not recently written. However, the contents of it, you can. The script is the handwriting is not very good, but you can parse together some things about it, namely the fact that it is talking about supernatural beings of some sort. That again, the concepts of uh, specifically the phrases "morning star" shows up a lot, and also "evening star," and specifically hearing calls from them. So that's what you kind of get from them. It is in general a lot of talking about supernatural beings, the specific through line, and experiments about it, but you don't quite get what the results of the experiments are. But you get a lot of talk of morning star, evening star, experimentation, um, local legend about those two stars having things about them.
All right. Actually, I don't know if this works or not. Now that knowing that these books are about the supernatural, can I go through it again with like specialist knowledge?
Yes, you could actually. Now that because the case that I would think of is basically you going through and doing a cursory glance, but now that you have tied that all together, you would now be able to like research that. So I take it your research. I take it your special subject for your specialist knowledge in your scholar class that is studies into the supernatural. Or we did stuff.
Supernatural.
All right.
Mostly death, but supernatural.
Okay. So in that case, you can do you would need to do research into that, which I mean that would be what you would do. Also, let me check because you also have additional abilities. Let's see. Keep it simple. When you make a successful intellect action roll, you're able to. Okay, that one count. Okay. So yeah. Do a research. Or if you're going to do research, try again. Or use your research. I'm going to say again, controlled. And also standard again.
All right.
So essentially, roll the same. So you can roll the same amount, except you'd roll 4 base. You could also push that to 5 if you want to spend 2 stress.
I'm good.
Okay. So you get a full success from here because you rolled a 4, a 5, a 2, and a 6. So as you look through them, you can tell that this person was looking into. There's a specific through line of what they were looking into, which was a local legend, which is specifically one which was referred to as the Call of the Morning Star, which is a case in which people have claimed that something about when the morning star shines as high as it can in the sky, that if a special ritual is also performed at the same time, that people see visions that they are teleported to a specific spot, and they encounter like supernatural beings there. They also part of the journals are basically it's him poring over whoever the writer was, poring over research saying that some people have it is some people claim that this has happened to them. that it changes. It's different every time they happen. It's been noted that some people who have tried to investigate into this have actually died because they have had several people who have been looked into have died to very specific, um, essentially brain aneurysms. There is a weird chain of uh, people who normally were healthy looking into this dying of brain aneurysms kind of relatively early in their lives. And that is what the journals are talking about.
Nelos is just very intently reading through these books now. It's that kind of shit she's looking for. Just to be clear, was this just all the books on the one table? All the books, or was it just the books on the one table?
It was the books on the one table.
All right. She will, when she finishes reading, she will stuff all the books in her bag, and then go and read the other book.
Okay. That one's a little bit. That one is a lot easier to read, and since it's actually kind of keptly, like it's the details in it, you can kind of read through it. It's not as cryptic about what it is. It is actually very neatly written. It's simplified. You can tell this is a lot more. This is a recent journal, likely done within the last year, if even more recent. And it is a journal of someone going through those journals you just went through and just making commentary on it. You can see the commentary on it is a lot of it's talking about the poetry of the thing written. It's not like any sort of further research into it. It is a lot of like, oh wow, this is fascinating, and just talking about it's basically poetic wankery of this guy's research.
Nelos doesn't care about that, but she'll take that book too. Won't stick it in her bag though. She'll just stick it under her arm. She's also going to do a quick look around the room.
Okay. Just doing a cursory glance, there's a lot of boxes that you can like taking a look at it. It is it's stuff that's just basement stuff. It's a lot of like old clothes, old like knickknacks, stuff that just doesn't stick out in any way. Like the books that are in there are just like old like yearbooks and like stuff that doesn't really stand out.
Yeah. In that case, Nelos is going to leave the basement and head back upstairs.
All right. So as you do that, Torpo, I take you're gonna take on another room.
Yeah, I figured since nothing came of the books.
Yeah, as you go through that, it is basically nothing. Yeah, as you said, it is a lot of astronomical books.
Just dry ass garbage. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna move on to the next room then.
The next room, it looks like as you open the door, looks to be a study. There is a giant desk. There is like a bookcase or two next to it. There's actually a fireplace in there too, and a sofa.
Okay.
And there's also a window that looks outside. And there is a desk that looks like it had been used in the last, like, it looks like at least the last week or two has been used.
Yeah. Okay, so first off, anything notable about the view?
It just looks outside.
Okay.
It's not pointed towards anything. Probably closer. It's pointed towards the orchard.
Well, then time to rip apart that desk.
As you rifle through that desk, there is a book that is on the top of it. That looks like it is open to a page in the middle. That little page at a glance, you just see that it's half written. So it's likely whoever was in the room last was writing in that book. You see a typewriter on the book or on the desk. As you kind of rifle through, you see a lot of pens, a lot of pencils, a lot of a lot of just kind of knickknacks. You do happen to find some weed in there.
I'll stash that for later.
And also just some medicine in there.
Okay. I'm gonna check out that book then.
Just going through it, you can tell it's a manuscript, or it's him writing like a manuscript that is a lot of poetry.
Ugh.
A lot of poetry talking about his like views of the area, and just some very dry commentary about the him like being very impressed about the way that the people in this area sure do appreciate nature.
So Iravia is gonna swallow her bile and take the book because it'd probably be useful for the job anyway, considering it's kind of the thing they wanted.
All right.
Oh yeah, Nelos doesn't actually know why you're here.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to though. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
fucking Nelos doesn't give a shit about the job.
Yeah, Nelos is here of her own volition. She had no clue there was a job happening.
Yeah, I'm not gonna find much for the job anyway, so this will probably be the closest to a gold mine we got. So, I'm just gonna rifle through the shelves, see if I can pick out anything.
It's a lot of on the shelves. It's a lot of books that were written by the person who has lived there last. It's a lot of Reed Winters books, that like a lot of the published ones. A lot of books that you're not familiar with what they are, but as you kind of look into it, these are books of poetry, very much likely kind of peers of his.
Would they be interested in his typewriter?
Probably.
Okay, I'm gonna set aside the typewriter and knock over the fucking desk because this has been a waste of my time.
Okay. I mean,
Typewriter.
actually, no. I would say they probably would not be as interested in the desk because the desk probably.
The desk was there before the guy.
Yeah.
There's nothing special about the desk. The typewriter, though, they would care about.
Would you be
Also
interested in this piece of a desk that man mysteriously broke?
Yeah, I'm also gonna take one of the fucking books and hurl it out the window.
Okay. It makes a thunk.
Okay, good. Did it break the window?
Did you just throw it through the window as it was closed?
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Okay, good.
It's a
So
hard object.
Did Nelos hear this from downstairs?
I mean, if you're coming up from the basement, probably.
In that case, Nelos will just pause.
Nellis
And
could
roll
literally
her eyes and
watch the
continue walking.
window.
Yeah.
Nellis could just see it out the fucking window.
Nelos doesn't
But-
give a shit. She just heard it and then just kept moving on.
Very singular in focus, and I can respect that. But yeah, I'm gonna set the typewriter just outside the room, and I'm gonna take the book with me because I don't. Would I have a comfortable way of? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
You have a backpack?
I think Ravi just keeps most shit in her vest.
Should have had a backpack.
I'll fucking ask Nelos for help later, but the typewriter's been set aside and is in a spot that is easily noticeable. Either way, I'll move on to the next room. I think Nelos deserves a chance at this point.
All right. Is there?
Probably Carnival deserves a chance since.
Yeah, poor Carnival. Jesus Christ.
See, I see the library was in fact I wasn't expecting to go through the full thing right now, but I guess.
I mean, like seeing this now is like this. But like, if it's just the three of us, I figure having two characters go to different spots actually kind of works. But if we have more people, then it's only one. But yeah, because that's why I had like Elmis go to the computer thing.
Well, people we can group up into a computer thing later.
Yeah, there will be another investigation period later on the day.
Ah, okay, cool.
I also feel like if you continue on with the house, it's not going to be as in depth as this. So Nelos, now that you're out of the basement, is there anything else you want to look at?
I'll check the master bedroom for anything.
You see that it has been used relatively recently. Like as in it has been used with the other things in the house. Like it's not like it's been abandoned. Um, you don't see anything in particular. There's like a bed by the bedside. There is
A bed by the bedside.
I mean, a book by the bedside. Um,
2 beds, 1 room.
like there's like a nightstand. There's like
That's
just
right, baby. We're pushing the beds together tonight.
Yeah, this was actually a house from the 50s using TV. Now nothing in particular stands out. It looks like a standard bedroom. There's like clothes. The clothes are cheap.
Well, all right. In that case, Nelson's just gonna go upstairs and find Iravia.
All right. So Aravia, you as you go out, there is also the windows in the hallway if you want to take a look at that.
Yeah, may as well see if I notice anything notable there.
So that actually, you take a look down, and that actually leads to a courtyard which actually, now that I think about it, probably should have mentioned it at the first floor. There is a courtyard in the center of the house that has a fountain with a statue in the middle of it.
Oh boy, a statue.
Hmm.
I love statues. Okay. Yeah.
I was just saying it's like a small green square in the center that like there's some probably astroturf in the center with a fountain in the center.
I'm just gonna push that to the back of my mind for now and check out the next room.
So to the side, take you to the other world.
Okay, so the next room that is up there is a library.
Oh, fuck me.
It is a room that has a lot of books on it.
I'll fucking make sure to check them out on my way out, too.
Nelos is there now.
So, yeah, I take it that also as Ravia kind of walks in, Nelos also walks into the room.
What's up?
Want to help me pull apart these shelves?
Sure. Here, check this shit out. She hands Ravia the poetry book that was about the supernatural and stuff that she had in her arm. Jackass ruined some perfectly good source material.
God, I'm gonna hold on to this. Ravi just puts it away for later. Like, I'm on a job just to collect some effects from the previous owner. I figure they'll love this wank.
Ugh.
I also got the typewriter set aside. If you don't mind helping me with that later.
Sure. It's all right. She pats her backpack. I got what I was looking for.
Oh, that's good enough. Well,
apparently this fucker was trying to talk to Satan.
Also apparently looking at stuff related to interstellar beings, stuff about Mars. There were some papers in another room that were detailing that. You can check them out when we're done with this fucking room.
Sure.
So let the chaos begin.
So if you take a cursor glance of the books on the shelf, you can tell that the books here are of various different ages. Some of it are actually, a small portion of it is very recent. You can tell that the age on some of these books goes back at least 300 years. These books cover various different subjects.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. You can tell just by the names of the books. A lot of them are astrology. Some of it are tales of the supernatural. Some of them are also just local legends. Some of them are fiction. Some of it are just like standard reference books, like encyclopedias and such.
Okay.
But if there is one thing that does have a general, at least what you can guess by what the name of the books are, a lot of them are local legends and also legends from other places as well.
I'm gonna gather a few of them together. I'll just go. Hey, Nelos, mind helping me look through these? I'm kind of curious.
Nelos will grab some of the supernatural books for the pile.
Specifically, like I just gathered up local legends ones.
All right, I'll look for the book.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it. Because, like, as much as I love to do my job here, I'm dead curious about what's going on.
I'll tell you later. I'll bet you most of this shit you can just find at the library.
Yeah, I'm curious is all.
In fact, I've read a few of these.
Do I find anything of interest?
No.
Okay.
Nothing that looks like it's like earmarked or anything. There just happens to be a lot of books about that kind of thing.
Okay. I was just wondering if there are any interesting legends or anything.
I'm sure there. I mean, if you look through it, I'm sure that there's interesting things in the book, but whether or not they're pertinent to like any sort of thread line, I would probably say no.
I more meant anything that mattered to Iravia, but yeah.
Not without like sitting down and like reading through them.
No, okay. Well, next room.
The next room actually is a lot more basic. It is a billiard room.
Okay.
Yeah, it has a billiard table. It looks like there's also a dartboard.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take a pool cue for later, but otherwise, I don't think there's much to do here.
Yep. There's also a poker table, or like one of those card tables that's like it's a multi-purpose thing.
Yeah.
Then that's pretty much the entirety of the upstairs.
Yeah, it's just like a game room. Okay. Yeah, well, hey, Nelos, want to go check out that statue?
Got you?
Oh, the one in the courtyard. Didn't you notice?
No, I was down in the basement.
Oh, follow me then.
All right. See, we're taking the typewriter downstairs with us.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Is there anything in particular you wanted to see downstairs?
No, we were aiming to go outside for the courtyard.
Okay.
Check out the statue.
Okay. You both go out to see the statue. The statue is of a generic, like it just looks like a maiden, just like pouring like a vase into like the fountain, and the fountain's still running.
Hmm.
At least at first glance, that's what you see.
I'm gonna get in close and also touch it.
Where's the basement in relation to this statue?
In a spot that's conveniently written so I don't screw myself out in terms of physics. It's not underneath. Like the basement would branch out from underneath.
All right.
Like away from the courtyard. So you're gonna look in close at the statue.
Looking close, as I get a feel for it, see if I notice anything.
All right. What skill you want to do for that?
I mean, I think the only one I can do is, you know what? Can I use focus?
Let me just check something real quick. Okay, focus described as, actually, I'll look the mechanics side to have a better view. Where the hell is my descriptions? There they are. That's a heart. Focus, the ability to focus on performing a task requiring the ability to focus on performing a task requiring focus, and the ability to resist being distracted from keeping your cool. Some examples: I would like to focus on a particular person. I would be able to focus to perform the read memory. I kind of feel that if you're looking into it, no, you would not.
Okay, I wasn't sure because the way it was described on my sheet is different, so...
Yeah, I probably should fix that.
Because, yeah, for the sheet, it says the ability to perform under pressure, ability to know when you're being deceived or trapped, and the ability to comprehend breaks from accepted reality.
Oh, actually...
Really old description.
That's actually what the new one... again, looking at things that I need to maybe fix in the guide. Except from breaks in reality. I would say no, because that would require you to know if there is a break in reality to begin with.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I'm already fucking suspicious of the statue, but yeah. Alright, I'll just do investigate and push.
All right. So, with that, so what that's a 2, I think.
Mhm.
I am actually gonna say, gotta have too many tabs open. Let me just check on your sheet.
So Nelos will also humor Iravia and investigate the statue.
I hold on. I need to check something for this. Okay. Yeah, just roll investigate, which is your normal investigate without any like bonuses or anything.
Controlled.
Controlled and um controlled and you know what? I'm gonna give you great or whatever because what are the 3?
It's risky, standard, and great. I mean, not
Okay,
risky.
great is 1.
Limited, standard, great.
Okay, it is limit standard. Okay, so you rolled a 5 and a 1, so you get a. So in this case, you would get the normal amount of information that you would get. So you look at the statue, and that general feeling that you had in the back of your head that something was up with this place, increases a little bit. It's not like you can tell that whatever this feeling that it is greatest in this location. However, you can't quite pinpoint what exactly it is. But there is something up with this statue or in this courtyard, and since the statue is in the middle of the courtyard, something with this courtyard is really giving you some sort of vibe.
Okay. So, hey Nelos, want to have some fun?
Which also, Nellis, you wanted to investigate as well.
Yeah, Nelos was also going to check the statue out. I'm assuming it's just standard for.
Yeah, for you. Yeah, for her, it is just controlled standard. Your normal investigate.
She gets more dice.
All right, 446. So one thing that from your viewpoint, that because you're not getting a vibe that you notice, the statue is wearing a necklace. The necklace doesn't seem to be like the statue is like sculpted. You notice that something about the necklace looks like it wasn't sculpted with this statue originally. That
Alright.
this necklace on the statue seemed to be added on at a later date.
Now, how big is this fountain?
It's a pretty like the statue is larger than you, or like the statue is like larger than a normal person.
Not
And
the
the
statue,
fountain-
the fountain itself. Like, how wide is this fountain?
I would say it's not like it's. I would say at least 20 feet. Like it's a wide fountain. It's not like a bird bath that you can like push over. It is like a fountain.
Alright. Nelos will say to Iravia, yeah, sure. Let's have some fun. See that necklace on the statue?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go give it a touch.
Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah. I was just
Wait
gonna
for the-
suggest we topple the statue, but I mean, I guess that's faster. Sure.
Just wait for this fountain towards the statue.
Yeah, Iravia is just gonna try to make her way across the fountain to the statue to go grab the necklace.
Okay. As you grab the necklace, let me check something real quick. So I tried to, um, I'm trying to think because I keep my part of me wants to say, hey, roll for something. That's not how this game is played.
No, it's great, isn't it?
I'm just gonna say as you approach, trying to grab the necklace, something in the back of your head is telling you not to touch the necklace, or that you don't want to move the necklace, but you can't tell exactly why.
Is this just Iravia? Or
This is
Nelos?
just Iravia.
Well, Iravia loves to trust her gut, but this isn't her guts, it's her brain. So she's gonna poke at it with the pool cue that she kept.
Okay. At that case, in that case, let me think about this. In that case, do a smash, or right. So I take it poking it. I'm thinking that's kind of has to be smash.
Yeah, it's smash.
Uh,
That'd be an
so
improvised tool.
yes, it would.
And this is me gathering information about the supernatural by any means.
Okay. So
6 dice, baby.
that's a 6 without anything else. I am going to say in that case, however, it is the effect is limited because you're just poking at it with pull Q, this stone thing. And also
No, I meant the necklace. Poke it in the necklace at the pool cue.
that's still going to be limited.
Okay.
And also I'm going to say that is a risky.
6 dice, baby.
You only got 1 6 out of that, by the way. 2 4.
2 1s.
Yeah. Thankfully, critical failure is not a thing in this game.
Nope. All that matters is you just need 1 success.
Yep. So you rolled a 2, a 4, a 6, a 1, and a 3, and another 1. So you poke at the thing. You jostled it a little bit so that it came off the statue. But you can tell that it is stone. Like, it is not just a necklace. It is a stone necklace, or at least it is encased in stone. But you were able to jostle it off the necklace or off the statue, so it's a little loose.
Okay, so I jostled it and knocked it off, or
Not knocked it off, but you made it loose, so it's not like attached to the statue. So in theory, like, it's loose enough that if you had leverage and could lift it up, you could lift up the necklace off the neck of the statue and like take it.
Hey, Nelos. So I saw you eyeing the statue, and I got a feeling I shouldn't touch it. So why don't you?
Nelos shakes her head and says, "No. Use the pull cue.
Yeah,
Be prepared to run."
So I'm gonna use the pool cue again.
So okay.
Nelos will get out of the fountain in the meantime.
So let me get this right. You want to use a pool cue to lift this necklace outside off the statue.
Potentially.
I'm wondering if I should just say no. I don't know if that's actually physically
you know what?
possible.
Nelos, you got any rope?
No. I can go look for some.
You know what? I'm gonna go back in and get some sheets real quick. So what Iravia is gonna do is go get some sheets and tie them together.
Okay. So I'm gonna make you skill check for that.
Okay, what do you want me to skill check for?
I mean, you have an ability that technically you have stuff for it, which I would say that's a pretty good reason to use Tinker.
Hey, that is, you're right. I'm just fucking doing some knots, goddamn.
But also you're trying to make a rope that would hold a stone thing that's probably at least 60 pounds.
Oh, it wasn't to hold it.
Well, you're trying to take it off, right?
I was gonna wrap it around the statue.
Oh.
I'm toppling that son of a bitch.
Okay, that's a different thing altogether then. Oh, if you want to topple it, I suppose you could just brute force your way through it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna push the statue over. Fuck it.
Well, in that case, Nelos can help with that.
Okay. So there is a thing for teamwork. So if Iravia is going to be the base person to do this, which between the two of you, I at least, well, actually, no, Nelos has a decent. I think Iravia technically has better, but
I also can I can also use beacon like a piece of shit.
Well, technically, you have not had a confirmation that what you're dealing with is supernatural.
I'm pretty damn sure that necklace is supernatural.
I mean, you already gave in anyway, so.
Okay. Anyway, so yes, what Nelos could do is assist which costs 1 stress for Nelos, but will give Iravia an additional die if you want.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right, so that is
What the fuck are you doing?
6 base, I guess. I would say, since that could go awry if you happen to screw that up, I'm going to say that is a risky move. And I actually am going to say that the effect, since the statue's pretty much in there, the effect will be limited. Okay, so that is a 5, a 4, a 4, a 6, and a 3. So you ram yourself into the statue to try and topple the statue. And it does happen to, the statue, the top part of it, I will say, does happen to break in half, and does fall into the fountain itself.
Ah.
And it does, I will also say that doing so falls into the fountain, which will crack the side of the fountain a little bit, but that's about it.
It's fine. We can just claim it was already fallen over when we got here.
This house is a shithole. It's fine.
This house is a steaming pile. I mean, the book will be hard to explain, but I'm not the one explaining.
Actually, you're the one explaining because nobody knows Nelos was coming here except you.
Nah, Theron's the one who gave us the contract.
To you.
I know, but I'm saying, that's my point, is it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Anyway, Nelos will say to Iravia, hang on a second, and she'll run into the kitchen in search of tongs and a bag.
Tongs meant for holding 60 pounds of stone.
I mean, it's better than,
Better than the pole cue.
okay, so what do you want to do with the remains of the statue?
The necklace was the important thing. And since nothing came out of the statue when we knocked it over, that's clearly not the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So you take the necklace?
Yep,
Instead
after wrapping
Find
it up.
tongs in the bag.
Yeah. I'm not touching that thing, but I am gonna wrap it up.
Is there anything else you want to do with the in this area?
I mean, I figure since we got the important things, I got the books, I got the typewriter. We got a fucking... Yes, Ollie? Okay.
My cat.
My cat's being a weirdo. We got the important stuff. I think we can call this one and done. I'll bring the necklace by later to an expert over at the library, but otherwise I think we're good.
All right. So you're good with the house?
I think I'm good
Yeah.
with the house. Yeah.
Nellis, are you also good with the house?
Yeah, Nelos is good.
All right. So you both leave the house. Is there anything else you want to do in this region, or are you
No.
done with
No,
this
I'm
investigation?
leaving.
Okay. So that is both investigation phases done. So there you have that. You kind of go back and you kind of take wherever you decide to take your things that you've learned.
Clients would probably be the best answer.
So what was
And I
that?
figured I'd drop them off at the office.
Possibly, yeah.
Or drop it off at the museum since Lila was the client.
That is true. The necklace, though, I'm holding on to.
And
Okay.
Nelos will part ways with Iravia, but she'll ask her to color when she goes to investigate the necklace.
Yeah, no problem. May as well keep you in the loop. It's been nice working again, though.
Nelos
Yeah.
waves and heads off.
Thank you for listening to Hazeltown Story. If you would like to get updates on this show and many other shows hosted by me, LoloDePuzlo, you can follow at Hazeltown Story on Twitter, and if you would like to get to know me more from a personal standpoint, you can follow my personal Twitter at LoloDePuzlo. If you would like to watch this be recorded live, you can go to twitch.tv/LoloDePuzlo and follow the channel for notifications of when this show, as well as other shows like Retro Rank Rhapsody, are being recorded. If you would like to add this podcast to your podcatcher of choice, you can search for WLDP Hazeltown Radio and find us on most major podcatching search engines. Or you can manually add rss.hazeltown.life to your podcatcher. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come around for the next episode.